Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra and I've worked with Casey Burkhart in creating this presentation, Recruiting and Selecting Staff. We hope you enjoy it. In the face of increasing nursing shortages and fast-paced advancements, recruiting and selecting staff is more crucial than ever before. One thing a lot of people may not think about is the cost. Recruitment and selection of nurses is expensive and time-consuming. Picking the right candidate is not easy and takes multiple people to complete the process. The cost of losing nurses is extremely costly, and that is why picking the appropriate applicant is so crucial. There are direct costs that come with selecting and training an employee who must later be terminated because of unsatisfactory work. According to the National Healthcare Retention and RN Staffing Report, the cost of the recruitment and selection process per nurse ranges from $37,700 to $58,400. This means the hospitals can lose $5.2 million to $8.1 million annually. That is because there are hidden costs that may be even more expensive than the recruitment and training process and include poor quality of work, disruption of morale, and patients' ill will and dissatisfaction. So what is the purpose of the recruitment and selection process? The purpose is simple: to match people to jobs. Each recruitment and selection process is different. It will vary depending on the facility, but most will include persons responsible for the hire. Human resources is usually responsible for the initial screening process, whereas nurse managers are more knowledgeable about the job, so they usually provide details about the position description. It also includes the detailed position description, which involves skill, knowledge, experience, and qualifications. And lastly, this process follows an organized, systematic process from application to hire. So advertisement of the job plays a big role in recruitment. And there are multiple ways that job advertisements can be posted. And this can include social media like Facebook and Twitter, job posting websites like Indeed, newspaper, billboards, radio commercials, etc. Tips for an effective job advertisement include keeping it short, using rhetorical questions such as, "Can you imagine yourself working for a company that appreciates and supports you?" It may also use job descriptions that are straightforward and clear, and displays any major benefits of the company, like a $5,000 sign-on bonus or no weekends. Despite the effectiveness of the advertisement, the best recruitment strategy is the organization's reputation among its nurses. Satisfied nurses are more likely to speak highly of the hospital, so that is why every hospital should take care of the nurses and work to create a positive workplace environment to improve the nurses' perception of the work setting. And an interesting fact is a research study actually showed that nurses in magnet hospitals demonstrated higher levels of job satisfaction than those in non-magnet hospitals. So nurse managers play a really critical role in this process of recruitment and selection. They influence how well the unit is able to not only attract staff, but retain staff. Through leadership and clinical expertise, they may have a positive impact on recruitment efforts because staff members will hear about and be attracted to whichever unit the nurse manager works on. So nurse managers represent the unit and the facility. They lead the recruitment and selection process. They ultimately make the end decision in which candidate to hire. They answer the candidate's questions, and they organize and lead the interview. So the position description should be clear to attract the appropriate type of applicants. It should also reflect current practice guidelines and should include a job overview, a brief summary of the position. It should also include personal experience and qualifications, and this may include licensure, certifications, and an example we have here is current registered nurse license with at least 1 year of experience. It should also include duties and responsibilities as well as tasks required to carry out those responsibilities. An example we have listed here: administers medications safely and in a timely manner. Selecting candidates. Human Resources will initially review all of the applications. And reviewing applications can include calling the references of the letters of recommendation, ensuring licenses and certifications are up to date, reading through resumes and cover letters. And then from there, an initial interview is conducted. If the candidates don't meet the required criteria, they will be informed. And then at this stage, there may be multiple candidates selected to move forward to be interviewed for the same position. Interviewing. So who will do the interview? Nurse managers and sometimes staff, which could include a mix of nurse aides, nurses, and charge nurses. When will the interview be conducted? After Human Resources reviews applications and deems them a possible candidate. Where will the interview be conducted? Initial interviews may be over the telephone, and other interviews may occur on the unit or in a conference room. Effective interviewing should be organized and structured. From the text we have listed here, behavioral interviewing, also called competency-based interviewing, uses the candidate's past performance and behaviors to predict behavior on the job. Behavior interviewing questions allows managers and the staff to get an understanding on how the candidate would react to the challenging situations, and also gives them an understanding on how the candidate processes and approaches a problem. So each behavioral question analyzes a specific behavior the job is interested in. For example, you have a patient who just comes back from the operating room after having an orthopedic surgery. As you pull back the sheets, you see a large puddle of fresh, bright red blood. How would you react to this situation? This question is analyzing the critical thinking behavior. Another question like, describe a major change that has affected you and how you handled it, analyzes adaptability. What have you done in school or on the job that went beyond what was required? This assesses your initiative. And what is your most significant professional accomplishment? Would assess your motivation. More traditional style questions include, tell me about yourself, or why did you choose nursing? The final decision. So the final decision is made based on a number of different factors, including education, experience, letters of recommendation, and licensure. So for education, one example is an ASN graduate nurse versus a BSN graduate nurse. So nurses who have an associate degree are prepared to care for individuals in more structured settings. They use the nursing process, decision-making, and management skills in the care of those individual people. However, one can argue that the baccalaureate nurses are more equipped to care for individuals, families, groups, and communities. They are also prepared for community health positions and possess the leadership and management skills needed for entry-level management positions. Experience. The textbook would like to point out that we should avoid making assumptions based on an applicant's experience, because factors like patient acuity, patient populations, and degree of specialization vary between different organizations. And believe it or not, references or letters of recommendations actually have very little validity. And this is because few people write unfavorable letters of recommendations. And references don't really predict job performance. But the letters may and should be verified with a telephone call if possible. Lastly, licensure. After the nurse has taken the NCLEX RN, the applicant's results should be available within 7 to 10 days. So that is why most managers wait for new graduates to obtain licensure prior to starting a job. Now let's watch a short video on behavioral style questioning and how we as interviewees can best structure our responses to answer behavioral style questioning.
This is an important lesson because it's all about behavioral questions. Most companies include behavioral questions in the interview process. These are all of those questions that start with, tell me about a time, give me an example, and similar. This is where you can use your storytelling skills to stand out from the competition. You have to be able to show your accomplishments in the best possible light. That means crafting stories, true stories of course, that show you at your best, that prove you're qualified for this job, and demonstrate you would be a pleasure to work with. It's really hard to come up with this kind of compelling story spontaneously in an interview. That's why a little preparation can make such a huge difference. Behavioral questions are any questions that focus on your past behaviors as indicators of future performance. So the secret to doing well with these questions is all about storytelling. And why storytelling? We're much more likely to become engaged with information in the form of a story. People are also much more likely to respond to and remember information when it's presented in the form of a story. The other thing about storytelling that's relevant here is that stories engage the right brain. They trigger the imagination, and that makes a listener feel like a participant in the narrative, and that makes a person much more likely to connect with you, to feel interested in you. So let's get into some of the best practices for writing these compelling interview stories. The STAR approach has been used for years in many industries to analyze behavioral answers from candidates, and it's a useful way to think about structuring your answers as well. STAR stands for situation, task, approach, and results. These are the elements that we want to cover in each and every story. Years ago, I started using STAR with my interview coaching clients, and it works like a charm to simplify and focus the narrative. I've used it for thousands of clients between my individual clients and the workshops that I conduct. People come back time and again telling me about how much more confident they felt and how much better they performed once they had those STAR stories.
So if you'd like to learn more about storytelling and the STAR approach, please follow the link above. So this slide has examples of job postings. Any recruiting strategy essentially uses 4 key elements: where to look, how to look, when to look, and how to sell the organization. So let's use these examples of job postings to address those 4 key elements. Where to look. These organizations are using 2 platforms. On the left is Indeed.com, and on the right is CareerBuilder.com. How to look. They're posting online in general search engine sites, which is a very common recruiting tool. Other recruiting sources include employee referrals, job fairs, career days, and employment agencies. When to look. These examples don't really address when to look, but in the face of the nursing shortage, it could be difficult to find available jobs right now. And lastly, how to promote the organization. Generally, 4 strategies are included in marketing a job, and they're called the 4 Ps of marketing: product, place, price, and promotion. So let's take a look at this example of job postings to see if we could point out those 4 Ps of marketing. So on the very top, on the left-hand side, we have the product, RN Day Surgery. We have the place, Baylor Scott and White Health in Grapevine, Texas. But we don't have the price. So let's take a look at the next one. Registered nurse, We Will Train, $5,000 bonus opportunity. That definitely includes the price. And for the promotion, we see listed as stars on each one of these job postings, and those are reviews posted by nurses about the job. On the right-hand side on CareerBuilder.com, this site provides a more comprehensive job posting. It includes the product, IV Nurse, the place, Charlotte County, Florida, the pay, it says top pay, daily pay, and the promotion, flexible schedules, and friendly, accessible staff. So in conclusion, the recruitment and selection process is important to match people to jobs. Position description is critical because it defines the job. Recruitment is the process of locating and attracting enough qualified applicants to provide a pool from which the staff can be chosen. Selection includes screenings, resumes, reference, and background checks. And behavioral interviewing is a key style to hire applicants best fit for the job. Thank you so much for watching.